Welcome to a new test and teardown video. This time it's a Sabtronics model 2000 digital multimeter. This one is from about 1978, plus minus a few years. It was sold as a kit only. Back in the good old days, people really wanted to solder and build all sorts of kits. Good idea to learn how to solder and learn about electronics and build something useful and cool and cheap at the same time. So, a lot of these exist and you can buy them real cheap all over the place. I was lucky to get this one at the previous flea market. I can't remember if I paid anything for this or if it was in one of these giveaway boxes or something like that. I don't think I paid a lot or actually anything for this one. So I don't know if it works or not. I think the model 2000 is because of I don't know if you can see this, we got 4 digits in there, but it can do plus minus 2000 counts. There is a few really funny, odd things about this one. Let's look at the switches here, okay? So, yeah, it's the ranges I wanted to show you. This is probably, I've never seen anything like this before. So let's try and imagine we got volts. 100 millivolt, okay? Look at the next range is 10 volts. And the next range is 1 kilovolt. So we've got 3 ranges. And the ranges, they skip 1. See, 100 millivolt times 10 is 1 volt, right? And then you go 10 volts times 10 is 100 volts. But of course you can't do 1 kilovolt times 10 for 10 kilovolt. That's not working, right? But that is how you get more ranges with only 3 switches. Isn't that just weird? Have you ever seen anything like this before? It's a little bit weird, right? And this works, of course, also in amps or in ohms, you see. I think it's quite funny. This instrument is designed to run only on batteries, 4 cells, so that is 6 volts. This is a modification to make it run on external power. That's the battery lid. And here's the super ugly power supply I got. It says 6 to 9 volts. So I don't know. Let's try and open and inspect in a second, but there's just one little thing I want to flame before we proceed. This thing weighs absolutely zero thing. It's like there's nothing in it. And look at the curved shape. That means when you put this on your table, okay, it's in here, right? But when you put this on your table and you want to put some other stuff on top of it, I mean, really? Why is it curved like this? And it's so ugly. I mean, it could have been straight. Then you can put stuff on top and it will look a million times better. But I think this is maybe just to look different, right? Inside my fantastic unit, yeah, it needs a little bit of cleaning. So that will be the battery compartment. I think this is a later model because I got this little cut here that makes it possible to take out this lid and this way replace the batteries. Earlier models, they didn't have this, so you needed to open the entire case to change your batteries. That's a little bit funny. And also you note the back panels here, you can pull these up. Well, mine have been glued, I guess. But you can see some marks. So the idea is you can have a optional circuit board here with a little regulator and a DC jack, but I don't have that one. So this is a little homebrew upgrade. I don't know exactly where this black wire is supposed to go. And then you have a little resistor, and this goes to power. So there's probably a ground somewhere this was supposed to go. And the construction of this one is really nice from this side. I think I will take out the circuit board and see the solder jobs, since we know this was a kit. It was definitely soldered by somebody. And also, this one is a later model, and this is revealed by this switch mode converter module. So this is a dual switch mode converter module that makes the 6 volts from the battery into a minus 14 volts and a minus 7 volts for the op amps and for the AD converter. This is not just a regular AD converter. This is one of those all-in-one multimeter chips designed specially for low-cost multimeters like this one. So you got analog input and a reference input, and then it drives a number of 7 segments or whatever kind of segment you want in BCD mode. So the output from this chip is 4 bits BCD, and then 4 or 5 bits to select the individual segments. As we see here, you've got 4 different segments, and you just select them one by one after each other. So, and this is running fast. So you think they're all lit up at the same time. This is called multiplexing, and this is why you have only 2 chips and the series resistors here for the wanted current for the segments. And yeah, so you don't need to use the official Motorola chipset parts for this, and those one of them is, and the other one is just a standard 4-bit converter chip anyway. And what we have right here, that is a little bit interesting. That will be, if you look at the schematic, they call this a 2025 special Motorola part. In my unit, you'll see MC1403U. They are 2.5 volt, very, very high accuracy and super nice reference chips. And the fun thing is we have 2 of them. So that's a little bit odd. That is because one of them is used for the voltage reference for the AD converter, and the other one is the current generator for the ohm meter. And they can't really use the same, unfortunately. So that is how it is. And then one of the op amps is the current source for the ohm meter, and the other one is the op amp for the AC to DC converter. So that is actually the entire circuit in a nutshell. Here we got some precision resistors used for the different ranges and all that stuff. And the fun thing is this times 10, right? So what this is doing, it takes the 2.5 volt reference, goes via the 10K and 100K, and this adjusts for a 2 volt reference. But when you go into times 10, then the voltage reference is 0.2 volts. So that is a fun way to move all your measurements. So that is just what they're doing to save space for all the switches and stuff. So I think that I don't see any leak capacitors or anything like that. So let's try and power this up and see if it smokes. Yeah, I should maybe dim the light a little bit so we can see how nice and fine the volts, 10 volts. I mean, I think it looks so far promising. Let me see if I can find some 10 volts somewhere. I think I got a little bit of calibration to do here. So this is 9.9 volts, just roughly in that ball game. Just from a power supply like that, it's only a little bit over that, 4 millivolts over. And what you can see here is my DC input. Oops, I did a little mistake here. I should probably change the voltage to 6 volt. I have to do it right, you know. I have to do everything right. So here's a 6 volt input, and it's 150 milliamps, 0.9 watts. So that is the power usage. So that means it will run quite a long time on 4 D cells. And that is my input, 9.9 volt and 4 millivolts over, exactly like this meter says. And so this one should read 9.9, and that is not the case. And what I've done, we can go to the higher here. So this is 1K, and you can even, that is crazy. Why would you do that? Well, that is 10 volts, so this is a 100 volt range. And see, this is the same error, isn't it? So this is a good sign. That means it's my reference thing and not all the different ranges that I need to poke around with, right? And then what else did I do? Yeah, let's go back here and then go into amp. So now it's of course shorting my input, and it is reading also low. So it's reading 90, but I set my current limit on my power supply to 100 milliamps. See? I can show that here. Here you go. So that means I have a little voltage reference to play around with. And see, the only thing I touched, that was this 100K potentiometer, because that is connected to the high side of the voltage reference. And that is, of course, what I wanted to poke around with. And now I got 9.9 here. So let's do the fun thing. What happens if I go? Okay, it's a little bit low in that range. Ah, that is because this is the other trimmer, right? Okay, so I'm back. This is the right reference, and I will go here, and I will go to amp. And it's 99 milliamps, and it's reading 102. So it's reading a little bit too high. So there's another trimmer for that. Wow, I'm having fun today. So after a little bit of poking around in all the different ranges and poking around with all the different trimmers, I quickly learned how to do everything and how it measures. Absolutely, I mean, fantastic. This is a 1 mega ohm resistor. It is a little bit, maybe my connection here is not so super, see? Ooh, it's a little bit, but I mean, it's not bad. So of course I took out the circuit board. Let's have a little look how it looks like. So of course there's a nice big Sabtronics logo, and look at that, copyright 1977. The solder job for this kit is not that bad. Got a little logo there, EC1, and up here we got the 4010 revision A. So this is my circuit board version. I kind of like those really nice white tracks. Yeah, there's another thing. Earlier I talked about the display being multiplexed, and you can see here it looks like all the segments they are connected in parallel, and then you just select one of the displays here one by one. So that is how it works. We also have a little, so this is called 4012. There's another funny thing I just learned from taking out this circuit board. Can you see this? The 4 plastic melt points. That is because to save money, the 2 shells of the 2 parts here of the case, they are exactly the same. And this is because plastic casting costs a lot of money, and this is from making the form for the plastic casting, and yeah, they are exactly the same. That is quite funny. And this, you see the holes here, so they are pre-marked, and then you drill those 4 holes, and then you put in those plastic parts here, and now you have the bottom part. Isn't that just cute? And then you see the difference. Here you want to take the screws through these, and in the other one you want these screws to go in here and grab these, right? This is a genius way to save money. I kind of love it, to be honest. But now I'll just assemble my super nice meter. And I just want to say thank you very much for watching, and I hope you had a little bit of fun. Bye bye.